Hey guys, Craig here. So this video is just going to be simply 5 tips that I've picked up about working out at home while in isolation with limited space, limited equipment, and it's just to go and show that just because you can't get access to a gym or you can't get outside, you can't try and improve your fitness. So let's get into it. Okay, so tip number 1, probably the most important. Whatever you do, keep it simple. You're not at a gym, you don't have acres of space, you haven't got access to all the equipment, so whatever you do needs to be simple. Even in a gym, I would just do a simple push-pull leg split, which is pretty common. Allows you to work your full body, essentially all the major muscle groups over the course of a week, and if you can do it twice, then that's usually pretty optimal. So yeah, keep it simple and try and stick to that plan. Tip number 2, really whatever you plan to do and whichever exercises you pick, try and keep them relevant to what you're training for. For me, obviously that's triathlon, so I want to work on sort of the muscles in my back that are going to be relevant to swimming. I'm going to want to work on a little bit of strength in my legs to help me be stronger and recover on the run and be stronger on the bike. So try and keep things relevant to whatever sport or hobby you have an interest in. Tip number 3, just because you're at home doesn't mean you can let your form go all to bits. You're just as likely to injure yourself at home if your form drops than you are in a gym. So just because nobody's looking at you and cracking the whip to make sure that you're doing everything properly, don't let the form disappear. So concentrate on your form. Keep the weight sensible and keep the number of reps sensible so that your form stays good throughout the workout. Right, tip number 4 is going to be about equipment. It's going to be really helpful if you can get hold of some simple equipment. All I use is I've got a simple set of dumbbells which are about 9.5 kilos. I've got some resistance bands and I've got a pull-up bar. With those 3 simple bits, you can probably plan your routine. If you can't get hold of equipment, there's plenty of resources online where you can find ways to work the muscle groups without any equipment. These videos are really popular at the start of lockdown and there's hundreds of them out there, so just have a look about, and if you can't get equipment, try and find some exercises that don't require them. Right, so tip number 5 is all about consistency and progress. Once you've got yourself a nice little workout, try and build it into a routine and be consistent with that routine, and over time slowly try and progress it. Progression doesn't always have to be additional weight. You can just be extra time on attention, so you can take longer in one part of the exercise, or you could add extra weights. I mean, that's an easy way to do it, or you can pick a more difficult variation. But as long as you're consistent, and as they become easier, just try and vary them to keep your body sort of guessing and adapting. You'll progress with the routine. First up in the pull-up, a little bit difficult for someone my height to do these in a doorway, because I think the door's only maybe 6'6", and the pull-up bar does sit down. You can get some which sit a bit higher, makes it a bit easier. So really, but the key here is obviously I have to start from a hanging position, so I've got to keep my knees bent so that I can get full range of motion. Full range of motion is the key part of the exercise, I think. And basically, yeah, this is kind of what it looks like. So start on the bar, drop into a hang to the bottom of the exercise, and then nice and controlled all the way up. Hold it at the top for about a second, and then nice and slowly all the way back down, and then next rep all the way up, hold it, and nice and slowly back down. Key is just trying to stay controlled. Basically I'll do a set of these, somewhere anywhere between 5 and 10 would be fine. Basically until maybe my form starts going and I start swinging, that's when I stop. Next exercise to do, this one being push. I don't have a bench obviously because of the space, so for me it's just a simple push up. I use a set of these which is just handles, it just allows me to get a little bit extra stretch in the chest at the bottom of the rep, but these are optional. You can do pretty much the same job just with your hands on the floor. So with the push up, essentially same rules apply as with the pull up. Try and keep the form nice and controlled through a full range of motion. So these, I'm going to start from an upright position, try and keep the core engaged and the glutes engaged to keep yourself nice and straight, and nice and slowly weigh yourself down, small pause at the bottom of the rep and push up. Same again, nice and controlled down, small pause at the bottom of the rep and push up. And I just continue this basically until probably, if I can get 12 reps, great. If not, if the form starts to suffer, stop there, take a rest, go for another set. Next one sort of works the muscles at the top of your back, it's with the resistance band. And this one I find quite good for when you're stuck down in a TT position. You get a lot of strain in these muscles, and since I've started doing this, this has helped take away a lot of that strain. Just helps with your posture in the top of your back and your neck and things like that. So we start with these, we take the loose out of it at the top of the rep, try and keep the band maybe just above my head height, and then pull the band apart and down towards my chest, hold it there, and then we go back up again, on for another rep, and then pull the band apart, down towards my chest, and then back up again. At the bottom of the rep, I've pretty much got the band level with my collarbone, and then it goes back up like that. Again, sort of just do them. I do that until I start getting a lot of burn in the back, so I take them to failure. They're not that stressful, maybe 2 or 3 sets of those. Just really helps work the back at the end of the workout. On the legs, for this I'm just going to do just a simple squat and make it a bit more difficult. I have a set of dumbbells, these are 9.5 kilos each I think. I'll double check that in the scales in the bathroom, and I'll put the weight below. For these, if you want to use both, just give myself a nice stable base with my legs. I kind of rest them a little bit to my shoulders just to keep the weight above the centre line, and go from this position down to the bottom of the squat, and then nice and strong back up, and then again slow and controlled to the bottom of the squat and push up. These you can make them more difficult if this weight's not enough for you. Same sort of thing, you can do down to the bottom of the squat, come halfway up, back down at the bottom, and then back to the top again. So just as one more final thought, while you are in isolation like I am, you're going to find yourself spending a lot more time sat at a desk or sitting on a sofa, just basically killing time because you can't be as active as you normally are. Because of this, things like problems I've had in the past is my hamstrings. Having them sitting there in the sort of like shortened state isn't particularly great for your posterior chain. It causes me, if I don't stretch properly, to have injuries, things on the bike especially, or when I'm running. So yeah, try and put a little bit more thought into things like a stretching routine and your core routine, because you're not engaging things like your abs, your glutes. You're not engaging them as often as you would be if you were up and about all day at work or just in recreation. So try and have a think of where things could be improved. They might not always be where you think they are. So I'll leave that there, and all the best. If anybody else is in the same position as I am, drop me a message below. Love to have a bit crack with you. And yeah, best of luck. So there we are guys, 5 simple tips to try and help you get a decent start in working out from home. As for people in my position waiting for surgery and things like that, the thing that I've always felt, and the advice I've always been given from my surgeons, is the fitter you are going into that surgery, the fitter you'll be when you get out the other side of it. So treat your surgery as if a boxer would treat coming up to a fight. Train for it, get ready for it, and try and be at the peak of what you can be at going in there, and then hopefully you'll only be in there for a day or two, and you'll be back home in your own bed or on your own sofa, recovering in the right way, not around all those bloody noisy machines. So yeah, try and get as good as you can get on the way in, and best of luck.